at afr.net and on the Focal Point Facebook page. You'll also find the best collection of Brian's resources on our Facebook page. If you're on Twitter, you can be among the first every morning to find out what the day's show will be about. Just follow Brian at Brian J. Fisher.
Welcome back. You are listening to Focal Point with Brian Fisher, who is out today and humbly trying to fill some very large shoes. I find myself, Dr. Gina Loudon. You can find out more about me by going to docgtv.com. That's docgtv.com. I also wrote a book called Ladies and Gentlemen, where I talk about the ways for people to plug in to their activism, using their own talents. And I talk a lot to men in the book, but I talk a lot to women too, because I think especially when we're moms, women my age who have young children and they're trying to get them to their games and they're trying to homeschool them and they're trying to just be good moms, be good wives. It's hard to know where to plug in for your activism. So I dedicated one special chapter in there to that topic precisely. So check it out on my website, if you would, at DocGTV. Now, about this time last week, I was in New York doing a little bit of a whirlwind tour, media-wise. And I was trying to hammer the message that conservatives don't have to give up what is our platform. We don't have to give up our convictions to be compassionate. We don't have to compromise on the planks of our platform and our Constitution that are important to us as conservatives to win. And that's the discussion I want to have with you right now. Because we are looking, I titled one of my articles, "The Mod Squad is Coming." And I mean that. The moderates are coming for our heads. They want to be able to put in their candidate whom they can push on and squeeze when they have something they want that means something financially or for more power for themselves. That is happening right now. And you're going to continue to see this whole, let's only talk about fiscal issues. Let's not talk about any other any other issues. We covered that. There's no such thing as a fiscal issue that is independent of social issues and vice versa. So those are lies, and you have to be able to call them out for that. But they're going to say, well, look at these recent victories, like Chris Christie winning by 60%. Isn't he the quintessential moderate? And doesn't that mean that we should therefore support a moderate for president? Clip one.
Gina, do you think that Governor Christie's position on gay marriage is indicative of a larger shift that's going on within the Republican Party right now?
Sorry, this is Kavuta.
I think there are bizarre shifts happening on both sides, actually. The Republicans and...
I hear from a lot of doctors that you're getting literally pennies on the dollar in a lot of cases because of either insurance reimbursement or if it's Medicaid or Medicare or one of these other...
Well, and because they're going to have to save money somehow, because this is such an astronomically expensive endeavor, as we all know, they're going to be picking doctors who, who maybe are assistants normally, maybe physician's assistants, or they're going to be, instead of having a PhD psychologist, you might be going to someone with an undergraduate degree in counseling or something like that. Not that that's all the time bad, and not to be judgmental, but it's going to mean less service. And the other thing, from the patient's perspective, Sean, this is devastating. Think about the fact that when you sign up for Obamacare, you are signing away that they are going to share that information with the IRS, with law enforcement. This blows HIPAA out of the water. I don't know how they're getting away with this.
Medical privacy is gone. I mean, it's got, in my opinion,
so much more sinister. They are counting on mental health patients, for example, not seeking mental health because they're going to be so concerned about privacy issues when we already have the things that have happened with the IRS and the NSA and on and on and on. They're counting on that. They're counting on people not wanting to tell their doctors their deepest secrets because they might be disclosed. They're counting on less people seeking medical care. Single most devastating law to ever pass.
And that is exactly right. That was a doctors panel that I did, comprised of mostly doctors. And the fascinating thing I want to tell you, the little behind the scenes part that you don't know, is that almost all the doctors, even the doctors that were called on the panel to play the liberal role, almost all of them agreed that this Obamacare is a travesty. It is a complete mistake. It is comprised of lies, and that it needs to completely go away. These little tweaks, like we saw in the House this morning, that's all good. It's definitely better to do it by our elected body than by fiat, like Obama and Nancy Pelosi want to do it. But nonetheless, all of these, there's only one way we settle on Obamacare, and that is to completely repeal it and start completely from scratch. Are there things about our medical system that need to be changed? Of course, there are. There's no question about that. But they are going to continue, and when I say they, I always mean they, the elite in Washington, D.C., and both parties. They are going to continue to tell you the only way you get rid of Obamacare is to have a moderate who will fight hard like Christie on just that issue. And he's not going to be distracted with silly things like gay marriage and abortion. I don't believe that's true. And I think the American Psychological Association's confirmation of pedophilia as merely an attraction that is only a problem if it stresses out the person with the attraction tells you where we are headed if we settle for somebody who is not of, I'll just say, the Tea Party brand. I'm going to go ahead and go to a couple of your questions because you've already filled up those phone lines. And we're talking today about what if the nominee in the next election is a RINO? What if it's a Chris Christie? What if it's you pick your favorite RINO. We've got John McCain. We've got, and I don't think he's running, but we've got John McCain. We've got Chris Christie. We've got Jeb Bush. There are so many others out there that they're going to try to force feed us. What are you going to do when that happens? Your calls right now, 888-589-8840, although I think all of our lines are full, so keep trying because I'm going to take someone right now. Going to Ryan from New York City on Chris Christie. Ryan, go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Gina. How are you?
I am well, thanks, Ryan. How are you?
Good. I wanted to call because I think that, I know you disagree with me, I think that Christie would not be the worst choice. He has been very socially conservative as the governor of New Jersey. He defunded Planned Parenthood. He vetoed gay marriage twice. There's concerns I have about Christie, none of which are very much social issues. He vetoed most of the gun initiatives. He only signed a few of them in, which I know is a big issue.
Big.
What?
Big. I just echoed your
but
big.
You know what? The fact that the Democrats can pass anything with the majority, that they failed this year in the Senate, I think it's something that Democrats are not going to run for because it's the culture where they lost. And I think if Christie runs and he has a very good VP, maybe the governor of Brian Sandoval of Nevada, or Mary Fallon of Oklahoma, I think he's got a very good governor VP. I think you're going to have a Republican in the White House, you'll have a Republican Senate, a Republican House, and that always benefits because there's the Tea Party element in the House, the Tea Party element in the Senate. They will put forward bills that will be passed that he will be forced to sign, and even if he vetoes.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate with you here, Ryan, because you look back at Bush, and we have some ridiculous legislation. I mean, many would say that the architect Karl Rove, who takes responsibility for the Bush presidency, actually ushered in the presidency of Obama. And I think if you listen to Bill Federer in my last segment, you could see that argument sounding pretty rational when you look back at the way it all happened. There was a need created by a Republican administration that wasn't conservative enough, and that need created, Obama came in and he was the prince that saved the day. What's to say that a Christie presidency won't be just a repeat of a Bush presidency that could lead to something as bad or worse than Obama?
Absolutely. Well, the difference is that the House now has 50 members who are Tea Party, or 60 members, whatever the number is, and you have 5 in the Senate, and maybe you'll have more. And you won't have the backbenchers that would, kiss the ring of the president. And in many ways, that organization has changed. You have a lot more independence in the Republican Party right now. And Chris Christie is not liberal. I mean, he's really not liberal. I know.
Amnesty?
Yes, he's horrible on amnesty. I will say he's horrible on amnesty. Horrible. Breaks my heart even talking about it, because he's so good on everything else. And if you need someone to run who will expand the map and Christie.
See, this is what I don't think you understand, Ryan. It's just having been involved in politics as long as I have. You take someone like him and you say, okay, well, the Tea Party is going to put the brakes on whatever he would do that's RINO-esque. Okay, I can buy that argument for a moment until you realize that those poor Tea Party people, those senators and House members who identify with Tea Party are going to be driven out continually by the establishment if they have a Chris Christie victory, because they'll use that victory on the state level to say, don't elect someone like Michelle Bachmann because she's not like Chris Christie and he just got elected, and that's going to be their argument. So that's why that doesn't really work, because I think it will diminish candidates who do espouse those Tea Party values. That's just my opinion. Ryan, I thank you for your call. I've got to get to some others. I'm going to go to Cynthia in Texas. Not going for a RINO, you say, Cynthia. Why not?
No, ma'am, I'm not. Well, no wonder he likes Chris Christie. Well, here's the deal. I called him the other day talking about Chris Christie. When Galveston was wiped out, they couldn't get on the island for 3 months. But when they did, Rick Perry cleaned it up. And Chris Christie is still waiting for Obama. He flopped and fished all over, and then he turned gay. No. And the Bushes, forget it. And if you got Hillary Clinton in front of them, third party. Thank you.
Third party. Did you vote third party last time, Cynthia? Oh, I lost her. You gotta love those callers that like cut themselves off because they because they know we're on such limited time. All right, David, be really quick from Spring, Texas. What will you do if it's a RINO in the next election?
Oh no, I will not vote for a person who is a RINO. I will not vote for another McCain just because he's the guy who's the alternate to the.
So will you not? So David, will you not vote at all, or will you vote third party and help hand it to the Democrat?
Let's put it this way. If I can't have what I want it to get so bad in this country that people will start using their brain.
Isn't that what, I mean, so many of my callers said that in the last election. Isn't that what we thought would happen this election? How much worse is a totally socialized America that has completely left the constitutional roots it came from? How much worse can it get, David?
Are you kidding? How you spell Holocaust?
All right, David, I appreciate your call. Lord help us, I hope not. We're going to go to more of your calls right after this. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Do we need to abandon the social issues and usher in a RINO? And what will you do if your candidate doesn't make it and you're stuck with a Chris Christie or a Jeb Bush? Stay with us. You're listening to Focal Point on AFR Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Gina Loudon. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.